welcome to my lounge. I'm Laurie Ann, and I run a page called Bold and Beautiful Hatsbylori, and I thought I'll share with you my journey. My journey is basically that I was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago, and I thought I'll break up my story in about 3 sections. And just to put it out there, I am actually Afrikaans speaking. So I pray and I dream and I think in Afrikaans and obviously translate everything in English, and often I make mistakes. So please be very gracious with the grammar because there are going to be a few mistakes. Anyways, my story is about hope, and my story is about giving women confidence in a time where you feel down and out and ugly. But I'm going to start my story about a year before I was diagnosed. My dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And the reason why I'm starting there is there I had to be the person to hear that if your family members got a stage 4 cancer diagnosis and we don't know what it's going to be like. What's going to happen? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be all right with treatment? Is he going to get better? Is he going to die? And I think starting there, I realized how I had the opportunity to be on both ends of cancer. I lost my mom 18 years ago, also to cancer, but I was so young, I don't think I really remembered very well. So now my dad didn't feel great, so my husband's a lung specialist, took him to see him, had a x-ray done, and then he said to him, there's something, we don't know what, we'll have to do some more scanning. Anyway, so the day that we were brought into my husband's office, that was a difficult day, because there I sat with my dad, and firsthand we had to hear that he had lung cancer. And I think the first thing I wanted to do was just to cry. And my dad was very calm, listening to what my husband had to say. And it felt to me like he was quite content with whatever it's going to be like. So during that whole year, I took my dad to scans, I took my dad to radiation, I took him to the chemotherapy treatment. I had to deal with lots of emotions. It's really hard to see somebody that you love get a diagnosis of they might die. So quite a challenging year for me. So the chemo didn't eventually work. He went on to biological medication, which didn't work. And then obviously it's where you only give them palliative care. And then you see how cancer eats them from the inside out and how they deteriorate and how they, eventually die. So my dad died on the 18th of August in 2018. Me and my sister then were left with his house, and it's the home that we were brought up in. So we decided to renovate the place and, create accommodation for a college that's very close to where we stay. So I was very busy, up and down, renovating tiles, bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. It was busy. But during that time, I did pick up a lump in my left breast. And it's weird, hey? I never used to do any breast examination. I think I was always too scared. I was scared I might pick up a lump, and then what then? Then you get bombarded with the reality of having to deal with it. So I never used to examine my breast, but I used to go for mammograms every year up to about 3 years ago. And then my gynecologist said to me, no, you only have to go every second year. So that's what I did. So somewhere after my dad died, I picked up the lump. Then during that very hectic time, my sister and I went away for 10 days. During that period, it was also my dad's birthday. So we were in Prague and London, my first time there. So it was good. And then I had an appointment for the 25th of October to go for my mammogram. And interesting, since I was 40, since I turned 40, I went for mammograms. And every time I used to take somebody, and it's weird, I always thought, you know what, I'm going to take somebody, because what if one of us get bad news? Then we need support. So this time around, I took 2 of my school friends. We matriculated together in 87. And I said to them, I'm going to make appointments. Can I book you some? We're going to go as a team. And they're fine, we're going to go. So the one friend of mine could only, so now we had to juggle it because they all work. We had to juggle a time that will suit each one. And so the 25th of October was the day. It was a Thursday. We landed up there together at 12 and I was first. I went in and the lady was doing my mammogram, and then she was repeating it, and then she was repeating it, and she was like 3 times later. I'm thinking, what is going on? Then eventually she called a colleague in, and the colleague said, no man, it's just microcalcification, she can continue. So I do have a little bit of medical or scientific or biological background because I studied medical technology at the Cape Technikon. So I say to her, what does it mean? She says to me, no, it's a precursor of cancer. I'm like, okay. Still didn't register lekker. Had the sonar done, got my report. Okay, there's a lump, but it wasn't very clear. Then I went back and I had a seat and waited for my 2 friends to have their mammograms done. But obviously they could see that I was very occupied with what I heard. So I phoned my husband. I said to him, listen, I've got a lump in my breast. What now? He said to me, well, I need to phone a surgeon. We need to get an appointment at a surgeon because I need to do a biopsy. I phoned my doctor, or a doctor that he mentioned. They said to me, please bring the scan so we can have a look. And so my 2 friends said to me, go, you know, we'll talk to you later. So off I went to my surgeon and gave them the mammogram. And she said to me, have a seat. And then they said, doctor said you can come through. So my husband was with me, thank goodness. And Dr. Etienne had a look at my mammogram and my sonar, and all he said was, no, it doesn't look good. So yeah, I'm trying to think, was I in shock? I think obviously when I knew I had a lump, I never thought it was benign or that it was nothing. And then when the mammogram was like iffy with microcalcification, I also thought, you know what, maybe this is cancer. And then when he said it doesn't look good, I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is cancer. And I think when you sit there hearing that news, it's weird. I understand where my dad's coming from. You don't really know what you're thinking. So you don't want to, I don't know, it was weird. It was just a weird feeling. Then he said to me, come in, let's do the biopsy now. Now I'm thinking, what? Biopsy now? Because I'm a bit of a sissy. I don't do pain very well. I never had children. I don't know what is 10 on the scale of pain or not. So I don't know how sore. Anyway, so my husband at least held my hand and the doctor explained nicely, because if you explain to me what's going on, I'm okay. He did 6 biopsies. It's like a prehistoric needle that they use. And then this prehistoric needle is hollow, and then they clip pieces of breast tissue off. Weird feeling. And then they send it off to the lab. And then the lab will analyze it, cytology, histology, and then they'll come back with an answer. So now, with the plaster on the wound, I'm off back home. And as soon as I got home, the front door bell rings, and it's my 2 friends that went with me. And at least their mammograms were clear. But now here we sit, the 3 of us, and we like all gobsmacked. What? Can't believe. Kan het wees? Is dit so? It was really, really hard. But didn't cry. I think I was, I don't know, probably still shocked, still naive in the fact that I feel fine. I don't feel sick. I don't feel tired. And then thinking back, I said to them, you know what, there was a stage during the year of 2018 where I said to my husband, something's going on, because I'm not physically on a diet, but I'm losing weight. So I'm not talking now about 10 kilograms. It was about 2 kilograms, but I mean, I'm not overweight, so losing 2 kilograms was weird. And then obviously they went home, and then my husband got home that evening, and it's a different kind of day, hey? Different kind of day when you think, wonder if I've got breast cancer. Friday came, got the phone call. It is infiltrating ductal carcinoma, so it is cancer. We're not going to hide away from that one. And isn't it weird? You always get bad news on a Friday, then you've got to deal with a whole weekend, and then only can you continue. I think for my own character, I prefer getting the bad news, and then I can cope and go on with life and deal with it. Hanging in mid-air is super challenging. So during the weekend, I had to live with it, think about it, what if it is, how bad is it. I think that weekend was the worst, because now you don't know how far it's spread. You don't know what kind of therapy you're going to get. You don't know what your outcome going to be. You don't know if you're going to be okay. So that very unknown area of a cancer diagnosis is hard. That I can say. That was hard. For my husband, it was hard. He said to me, but he's not ready to be alone. Because you know what? You do think you're going to die. This is the first thing that goes through your mind. You think the worst. Because I think it's easier to come back from the worst than be naive and think you're okay. Anyway, so Monday they phoned me to tell me I had HER2 positive breast cancer. So breast cancer gets divided into 3 groups. And I had HER2 positive. HER2 positive, you will get chemotherapy. Whether you stage 1, 2, 3, 4 chemo. So that Monday I went for a bone scan. There they check if you have any cancer in your bones. Luckily I didn't have any. And then you start feeling, oh, okay, maybe it's stage 1 or stage 2. Then I had to go for a CT scan to see if it's going to go, if it's in your organs. Hold and behold, something shows up in my liver. And then the doctor gives you a little bit of hope, saying, maybe it's an hemangioma. Hemangiomas are a little bundle of arteries that women can have in their liver, and it shows up, and so they then have to do a PET scan. So on Thursday, I go in to the hospital. First time in my entire 49 years of age, I land up in hospital to get a port installed. Maybe not installed, whatever. And then also to get this PET scan to see if there's stuff in my liver. Anyway, so the port is in. I'm sitting at reception having a coffee with my sister and my husband. And my husband gets called in to the radiologists, and he comes back. And he tells me, Lori Ann, it's in your liver. Oh, that was hard. That was the hardest bit, to hear that my cancer is stage 4. And then afterwards you hear that when you have stage 4 breast cancer, they don't really try to cure you. They just help you to extend your life. So you will always have cancer, you will always have treatment, but at least you'll be alive. And sure, that is not great news. So in the bigger scheme of things, I think that's, or if I look back, that's the hardest bit I had to face. Then I started my chemotherapy. I got the red devil, and many people know if you get the red devil, you lose your hair. So I wanted to be prepared. I don't want to be caught with my pants down. You know, I don't want to wake up one morning and I don't have hair, and then what do I do? So I got the number of a girl was diagnosed with breast cancer when she had a baby, and I saw a photo of her with this gorgeous headwear. Oh, it was absolutely fabulous. So I got her number, I phoned her, I said to her, listen, I'm Laurie Ann. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I hear you looked gorgeous. Can you please come and show me how to wing scarves and, try and figure out what I'm going to wear in my head? Because I already decided that I don't want to wear any wigs. I was thinking, you know what, it's not forever. I'm not going to spend a fortune on a wig. And you know what? I don't care how expensive the wig is. It always looks fake. It's just too precise. It's just obvious for me. I don't know. I can spot a wig a mile away. So, and I don't want people to see me in a wig and think, oh, shame piece. Yeah. So she came, she showed me. So as you can see, I'll put some photos on so you can see. So I started with scarves that I wrapped around my head. I'm also a Pilates teacher for 15 years now. And so now the problem with the scarf was it kept falling off. Or, when I had my chemotherapy and I felt exhausted and I was lying down and I wake up, then I had this gear that was just a painful exercise, the scarving thing. So I thought, yeah, this is not going to work for me. I need to find an alternative. Went onto Pinterest, went onto Google, and I started Googling chemo hats and chemo scarves and bold headgear and everything I could think of, possibly. And I tried to find something locally, but I couldn't really pick up something that I like. My first criteria was I didn't want it to look like a condom, because I don't know if you've seen it. When you wear a beanie, it takes on the shape of your head. So it's round and actually it looks like a condom. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in the middle of summer. I'm not going to wear a beanie. So that wasn't going to work. And the scarf thing is not working. And so I want something that looks stylish and modern and funky. Yeah, so now I'm on Pinterest, checking out some different designs, and I had home economics standard 6 and 7 and in primary school, so I can help myself if I want to. I just don't have patience, so fiddly stuff, but if it's quick, then I can. So I went down to a shop close to my house, bought a piece of, it's a very African motif. You'll see it popping up, material, and I decided to try something. So the first one came out a bit wonky, but it was very close to what it is today. And my friend Vivian helped me to work out the top bit, because the top bit was a bit of a mess. So she managed to work out the design. And can I tell you, it's probably 1,000 hats later, it's still the same design. So then I started making the hats for myself. Now every week, so now first of all, 4 Red Devils, 3 weeks apart. You sit there for 3 hours. And I used to have all my friends visiting me. I was so blessed. I had so many friends visiting me every time I was sitting there. And as I started making the hats, I also was Googling how to make DIY material flowers, because I saw these designs and I thought, I want those flowers. It's all about the flower. So I started making the hats, making the flowers, and then started sewing them on my hats. So sitting in the chemo room for 3 hours, I always had somebody take me, always had somebody fetching me, and had a rotation of friends visiting me there while I was sitting there for 3 hours. So we used to sew on the flowers of the hats. So I bought extra material, and as I was sitting there in the chemo room, there's quite a few people that don't have hair. I used to hand out the hats for free. Then I started a Facebook page called Bold and Beautiful, because I'm lazy. I didn't want a journal, so I started putting all my hats on Facebook, and very quickly had a huge audience for some odd reason. I was sharing my journey as a cancer patient on my page, And then people started asking me, so where do you buy these hats? And I'm saying, no, I make them. Guys and girls, so there it all happened. I started making hats by the dozen, all by myself, stitching like crazy. So now I'm getting chemo. I'm down and out for a week. Then the 2 weeks that I'm okay, I'm stitching like crazy, making flowers. Then I started having flower workshops, grabbing women to come and visit me, showing them how to make flowers. And then obviously they donate the flowers to me. People started donating material. It became huge. Then after my 4 weeks of chemo, for Red Devils, I got 12 weekly white devil, I call it white devil, white paclitaxel treatments, also 3 hourly. So for 12 weeks, every Friday I sat there for 3 hours, and I still had loads of people visiting me, sewing on hats, because now we were producing it in masses, and I was just giving it away to all the cancer care units, and then started selling them on my Facebook page, so that the money that I generated from that could then pay for the free hats. After that, I had a double mastectomy. Throughout the whole process, I'm sewing, buying material, sewing material, making flowers, having workshops, posting it on Facebook, selling it on Facebook, selling it via WhatsApp. It became a job and a half to operate a business from a WhatsApp and a Facebook page, but it was a great medium to get the word out there. And it is still going super strong. So I had a double mastectomy, I had my radiation. In the meantime, I had to have the one silicone removed because the wound wouldn't heal. It is now a year and a half later. I'm still lopsided with coronavirus. So I was saying to people, you know what, in 2018 I was diagnosed with cancer. In 2019 I was doing my treatment. And in 2020, I am got COVID. So I can add everything to my little list. But my story is about hope. My story is about giving women hats. Hats make them feel pretty and making them feel not sick. I think the one thing that my hats did for me was every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't feel sick. It made me look like I wasn't a cancer patient. Because listen, when you look in the mirror and you have no hair, it is very obvious. There's no denying it. But up to today, I have had so many women phone me and leaving me messages and telling me how it made them feel good about themselves, making them feel pretty, giving them the confidence to go out into the outside world. And people don't feel sorry for you. And they all want to know where you get your hat from because it's so gorgeous. So I'm so happy to have Hatsbylori develop over this whole year and growing, and eventually evolving into an online shop. I mean, I had to get my sister on board to help me because I physically can't do it myself anymore. I'm sewing each hat myself. I'm sewing the flowers on. I've got girls who help me now sew on the flowers, and I got a lady who I can employ who is sewing the hats for me now, which is amazing, creating jobs out there. And that for me is paying it forward. So my message to anybody out there is, this is my lemonade journey. This is my paying it forward journey. This is where I can give back to the community. So I try and give 3 times a year to all the units in the Western Cape, my free hats. I send it all the way up to East London, PE George, and then the whole of Western Cape. So I think it's about 12 units that I give hats to. And then when anybody loses their hair due to any kind of chemotherapy, the ladies, then they can choose a hat for them, and then if they want more, they can order it from our online shop. I also say to people that I had to get cancer. I am okay with the cancer that I was diagnosed with. It gave me the meaning in my life. It gave me a way to pay it forward, to help other people to look pretty. So I am very much okay. I am so blessed that just after all my chemotherapy, when I had my mastectomy done, they do a reconstruction. They send all that tissue away to the cytology and histology departments to analyze. And my doctor came back to me, and I never even picked up on it because I'm so blah about the whole thing. He said to me, Laurie, and I just want to tell you that you had a complete pathological response. And I'm thinking, I don't know what it means. And then he says to me afterwards, it doesn't happen to a lot of people. And I'm like, I can't understand what he's trying to tell me. And what he said to me was that 2% of stage 4 patients like me go in remission. And that means 2 out of 100 people with stage 4 breast cancer can say they're in remission. And I now have the life expectancy of a stage 1 patient. So I'm super blessed. I am still receiving loads and loads of therapy every 3 weeks. I get an injection for the rest of my life, but it's okay. It keeps me humble. It keeps my feet on the ground. It makes me appreciate life every day. I live in the moment. I've got a quote, memento vivere, which means remember to live. Small things in life is big things for me. Earthly stuff doesn't mean much. Relationships mean a lot to me. Meeting new warriors is great. Love chatting with them. I have lots of time for people who want to talk to me. I don't mind it. And I am super, super grateful to be in my journey. I'm happy. I am grateful every single day. I'm very grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have my shop where I can help people. And I often do videos about how I feel, what I do. I try and be very authentic. This is me. What you see here is who I am. And I love building relationships with people. So my journey is a happy journey. It is a journey of, as I say, hope. So please have a look on my website. I'm going big now. I want to create a website, a shop where you can buy anything that you would like for your friend who gets breast cancer. Small little tokens. People often ask me, what can I buy my friend? Soon you can go and have a look. There's going to be loads to give, loads to support them with. And it's an honor to be able to speak to you guys and chat to you. If you have questions, you can ask them. I don't know if I've covered everything. I try to. It's basically my journey as a breast cancer patient, and how I've turned it into a story of hope. I hope, and a story of happiness. And that, to live in today, to live for today, to not allow that your disease rock you to the floor and kill your joy, but to be grateful for what we have and to turn whatever you have into something bigger and greater, and to try and impact people and try and create your meaning in your life. All of us have got different meanings that we can add to people's lives, no matter how big or how small. For me, it's important to be able to give of my time, of myself, and to pay it forward. So I'm very happy to be who I am, where I'm at. And I'm going for a scan again on this, which is going to be positive. I also think for me, it helps to pray that I'll be content with whatever happens to me. And that is the bit that I think pulled me through. That I just need to be content. I've had a full life. I'm 51 years old now, and I'm currently in remission. And all I can say is, to God be the glory. It was great chatting to you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye.